My name is Dan Miller. My wife and I are 2 meetings away from being charter members of the Gifford Park Association. I'm very proud to share with you 45 years of accomplishments of the Gifford Park Association. In 1979, Chuck and Audrey Behrens felt that the neighborhood was at an all-time low, so neighbors formed the Gifford Park Association to work to improve it. We asked Mr. Elf what we should do to improve our neighborhood. He said, get historic district status. It brings pride and identity. In 1981, we got historic district status for our neighborhood and later applied for and received National Register of Historic Places status. That started the preservation movement in Elgin. At our example, 3 other historic districts were formed. Thus, a Heritage Commission is necessary, a preservation ordinance, design guidelines, and preservation staff. Homeowners often come to the Design Review Subcommittee saying, I didn't know I was in an historic district. We lobbied for 20 years with the city to create a means to give historic district status disclosures to residents. Several times we sent them the paperwork showing how Aurora accomplished it. Just this year, the city finally has historic district disclosure guidelines. Our persistence paid off. Old Main was a burned out shell. GPA volunteers helped to clean it up. We helped to obtain National Register status for Old Main. They're the VIPs of the time. We did not have much money, so we held a fundraiser. We had 3 shows of Richard Hensel doing Mark Twain for adults and school groups. We hand dug and laid the bricks for a carriage walk. We had several nights in the park. Lots of fun, great community building. A neighbor visited St. Louis. They had all kinds of banners downtown. He came back and he suggested that Elgin start to have banners because they're so attractive. Elgin said no. We silkscreened our own banners as seen on the left, made our own hardware, and installed them ourselves. Now Elgin uses them all over town as seen on the right. 155 South Gifford was proposed to be a halfway house for alcoholics. We went door to door circulating a petition against it, and we defeated it. It was the first time we got involved in anything controversial. I don't think the halfway house for alcoholics would have done this restoration, so we're lucky it never happened. New Life for Girls was proposed for 416 East Chicago. Good idea, but we already had too many social service agencies in our neighborhood, so we opposed it. It was debated at a council meeting for hours. A neighbor took his kids to the circus. When he got back from the circus, the council was still debating. We got a community development block grant for a gazebo. The president of the First National Bank was a friend. He sold, and foreclosed this property several occasions. He asked us to rehab it so he could get decent buyers. We did it, and we now have had great neighbors living there ever since. Look at it today. We lobbied for street closures, and we got 2. People were zooming down Chapel as a shortcut instead of staying on Villa. Chuck borrowed a semi from his work for our 4th of July parade float. We have been doing the 4th parade ever since. We hand out housewalk info. We did several corner plantings in the neighborhood. We designed, purchased, and installed fancy street name signs for our neighborhood. We delivered newsletters to 1,100 addresses quarterly. Mr. Elf dedicated his first book to GPA. We have reprinted it hundreds of times. We have a potluck dinner or 2 every year. I'm from small town Wisconsin, so I was born and raised on potluck dinners. I love them. GPA had 105 trees planted in our neighborhood. They've grown substantially. A grocery store at Chicago and Geneva burned down. They had unpaid taxes. A neighbor who was also a county board member convinced the county to give it to the Gifford Park Association. They removed a street for parking for the casino, so we salvaged the paver bricks for our pocket park. We purchased and installed the landscaping materials and the cast iron fence in the pocket park. We received an Elgin Image Award for our pocket park. For years we had a historic home marketing. We now do an email blast to 500 people to advertise our houses for sale. We have grant programs for great unveiling, house plaques, 50/50 historic restoration, painting, porch reopening, chain link fence removal. I'm very proud of our grant program. We've had 30 great unveilings. Can you imagine they covered that fancy window in the gable and a window next to the door with aluminum siding? Why would anybody do that? We gave the owner $5,000 to have it unveiled, and we had an old-fashioned barn raising there where volunteers unveil it. 28 North Porter uncovered window and fancy work in the gable. Again, why would they do that? Great volunteers, great community building. I can't imagine why anyone would cover that fancy gable work and a window with aluminum siding. We uncovered it. Felt great. We have 140 plaqued houses in the historic district. Here's a workday at Channing Park. Working shoulder to shoulder on a common goal builds community. Notice there's 22 people there. Today we have a hard time getting volunteers. The world has changed. A guy wrote a book on it called Bowling Alone. He attributes the change to television. I attribute it to so many things to do at home, on the internet, etc. We did a 50-50 historic grant on this porch. The new porch cost $13,000 to build. The city granted him half of that, and we granted him $2,000. That was a great incentive to get it done. Francella headed a committee that wrote a neighborhood plan. It's a great document. It puts all of us on the same page with all the same goals. It gives us something to look forward to work towards. We've had several porch parties. If a homeowner wants to host one, we will reimburse he or she $100 for the refreshments. A lot of fun, a lot of good food. GPA has an amazing website. We have 112 articles for Old House Restorers on it. If someone Googles a house problem, they could be directed to our site. Feels good. It's fun sharing information on old house living. We have 293 Housewalk booklet pages on our website. We have featured 293 homes and public buildings, some of them twice. Every Housewalk booklet page is on our website. It's a great resource for old house info. Our new website for the Housewalk is designed to work well on a cell phone. Websites on cell phones don't always work properly. Ours does. The rope officer shown in the picture is now a chief of police in another city. Being our neighborhood rope officer must have been a real plus for his resume. We were instrumental in getting NHS to Elgin. The boards of the two groups, NHS and GPA, were almost identical. We found an old picture of that house at 326 East Chicago showing its original elements. We had the elements put back. Feels fantastic. 21 North Porter was our first GPA rehab. We got a CDBG grant for $30,000 to buy the property. We sold it for $75,000. We made $200, which was the only time we have made money on a purchase rehab. It recently sold for $262,000. A neighbor noticed this house was to be auctioned the next day. We had to quickly get our act together to participate. We did and bought it for $30,000. We rehabbed it and sold it for $75,000. It sold in 2005 for $149,000. We donated $10,000 to Neighborhood Housing Services to help rehab 396 Division. You'll see on the before picture there was an exterior entrance to the basement. We had that taken off and put in the proper basement window. Neighborhood Housing Services' second office at 205 North Gifford was a flop house. Our volunteers did a landscaping plan and got a donation for the materials. Volunteers oversaw the exterior rehab. The Sanborn map showed a bay window, so we put one back. Volunteers made the fancy elements for the porch and the bay windows. 132 North Channing, we converted back to a single family. It was a Gifford Park Association purchase rehab. Volunteers made those fancy elements for the porch balustrade. Volunteers made the back porch. GPA volunteers made wooden storm windows, basement storm windows, and trim. 40 North Gifford was a GPA purchase rehab. We paid $70,000 for it and sold it for $140,000. We had the stucco taken off. They even stuccoed a chain link fence. A stucco chain link fence, amazing. The Downtown Neighborhood Association sponsored downtown window decorating contests. We even won a couple of times. We have participated in several Neighborhood Works volunteer days put on by the Downtown Neighborhood Association. We've done plantings in Gifford Park on several occasions. Again, the workday at Channing School. We wanted fancy streetlights for our neighborhood. We had an electrical engineer in our group who drew up the plans. In 1991, the federal government enacted ICE-T, Intermodal Surface Transportation Efficiency Act. It was to encourage states to use gas taxes for aesthetic reasons, as well as just road building. Projects needed to be shovel-ready, and we had one, our street lights. It was destiny. We were there when we needed to be there, and we got $1 million streetlights for it. We got a community development block grant of $30,000 to put up historic district signs. The original historic district sign on the left was our design. We painted the originals and helped install them. When they were old and worn out, we had to have new signs. We held a contest to find a new design and had lots of entries. We paid for the new signs as seen it right with a little help from the city. They cost over $6,000. We've sponsored several Little League teams, very satisfying. We donated $10,000 in the labor to the Watch Factory Depot. It added credibility to the project. Volunteers recreated missing elements, including the front window. We donated $5,000 to help make repairs on the exterior of Laura Davis and Sears Art Gallery. Very satisfying. What an incredible building. Volunteers designed our walking tour booklets, and we had them reprinted several times. At least once a year, Jerry Turnquist brings his kids around to see our neighborhood. So great to get local kids educated as to the history of our neighborhood. Jerry also did a walking tour of the Holy Hill neighborhood of churches. We paid to have it taped. It has had over 1,100 views on YouTube. So at least 1,100 people have watched that great Jerry Turnquist presentation. We sponsored an architectural scavenger hunt for the kids at Channing School. Another great way to get the kids to appreciate what we've got. We've sent over 400 constant contact emails, including monthly minutes, to over 500 people. The internet is amazing. This building was foreclosed and vacant. We spent $6,000 to have a feasibility study done. The city gave us $2,000. We marketed it nationwide with over 100 requesting the feasibility study be sent. We showed it to 10 individuals and had one offer. The additions so need to be taken off and the original porches put back. Unfortunately, the new owners said no to our $50,000 incentive. The interior details of the DC Cook Mansion were taken by a salvager. The banker now admits he made a mistake in allowing them to do that. The building was raped. That fireplace on the left is too big for a house. Normal people couldn't use it. He originally put it up for sale for $15,000. He hasn't sold it in 5 years. It's now $10,000. That encaustic tile floor on the right is still there, but everything else is gone. We've had 60 architectural salvages over 30 years. This building was torn down to make way for a new housing authority building. We conducted an architectural salvage there. We saved hundreds of things from the landfill, including 6 fireplace mantles, casings, and limestone which was used on a home in the historic district. Very satisfying to save things from the landfill. We did a salvage of Levelton at Liberty and Villa. We took in $10,000 at our silent auction of details. The Design Review Subcommittee needs to be complimented because they insisted Walgreens add a fancy cornice and foundation. At the meeting, their architect actually said he loved it because it gave him a chance to be creative instead of just working on stock plans. The Design Review Subcommittee, including GPA members, also got Walgreens to keep the limestone entryway and add a Watch Factory historic district sign to it. These are some of the details that were in that Levelton mansion. We sold these for over $10,000. Winning awards from the city is very satisfying. We lobbied for 40 years to have rental licensing in Elgin. Aurora finally had an article in the paper saying that they started rental licensing. We sent the article to council, and shortly thereafter, they started apartment rental licensing. They don't like to be shown up by Aurora. The Grandview Mansion was demolished in 1975. It took up a whole block from Channing to Gifford. We lobbied strongly for the design of the new homes to be built. It was a very contentious issue. One member quit over the issue. The porch aprons were to be temporary to get occupancy. Those cement piers are never to show. The city never forced them to put in proper aprons as was shown in their plans. We made renderings to show what proper old house aprons would look like. We actually offered the owners a $2,000 grant if they would change their aprons. No one has taken advantage of the program. We had an interpretive sign in David Barclay Park at Dundee Avenue and Center Street across from Burger King. Where the funeral home is now was David Barclay's home. We got a National Trust for Historic Preservation Award. The award was presented in Tulsa. 4 of us went down to accept the award. That was a lot of fun, very, very satisfying. It was written up in the Herald. We received an Illinois award, the Richard H. Dryas Foundation Award. The thing in the picture is the trophy. The bottom left is the front of the trophy, and then doors open to show the inside of the trophy. Wow, the trophy is amazing. We've gotten several image awards over the years. We've gotten 5 Mayor's Awards. We received a preservation award from the Garfield Farm Group. We had a nationally known preservationist address our group. We donated $10,000 to the rehab of the Nancy Kimball cobblestone at 302 West Chicago. 302 West Chicago after rehabilitation. The Historical Society needs to be complimented. They spent at least $500,000 on the rehab of that building. It is now stunning inside and out. We've put on 42 house walks. Boy, that house walk committee is quite a motley crew. We have sponsored 2 turkey trots, our turkeys at their best. We've sponsored 2 golf outings. We're getting ready for our 45th birthday. Great birthday cake. There are GPA zealots out there. Look at these guys with GPA license plates. The one on the left is on my truck. My daughter drives the truck to school. Her friends ask her what the GPA stands for. She's too embarrassed to say, so she never told them. A GPA member's father was in the bumper sticker business, so we put these in a lot of places. When people joined the Gifford Park Association, we used to give them door decals. If you look closely, there's still a lot up in the neighborhood. We lobbied for 15 years to have the Doughboy and Davidson Park lit. We finally did it. St. Joseph's tore down 3 houses west of their church. This apron was salvaged from teardown at Division and Center. A neighbor's idea was to create some artwork from them. We sponsored a porch slats artwork contest and had lots of entries. There is currently one in the elevator at the Historical Society Museum. Huge thanks to the Historic District Committee for putting on an annual Neighborhood Fall Fest. The kids love decorating pumpkins. We give out 50 pumpkins. The kids decorate them. We have a contest. The kids decorate the cookies. Look at those cookies. We helped put together the community garden at the old Channing Y site. It's now very, very popular. They keep adding on more beds. We have a Chuck and Audrey Barron's Award for long-standing and exemplary service. 24 have been given the award. The First Universalist Church, now the Iglesia Principe de Paz, is at the corner of Villa and DuPage. The building on the left is the original church. They built the new building on the right and turned that building on the left into their Sunday school. It now has a brick facade. Such a crime that they took the fancy work off. $1,000 was promised by GPA to repair a window in the church. This is a picture of the First Universalist Church today. It is a wonderful place. We had the Mayor's Award there one time. The only bad part is that behind that screen was a huge pipe organ that was taken out by a previous owner. We donated $5,000 to the Firefighters Memorial. Unfortunately, their award ceremony was in the rain. GPA projects that do not have a slide to show them. We have given hundreds of pumpkins to Channing school kids on Halloween. We sponsored many educational seminars on topics like painting, landscaping, roses, etc. We purchased books on history and architecture for schools in the neighborhood. We have sponsored numerous litter cleanup days. We sponsored a local craftsman to go to a seminar to hone his skills. We did a lot of landscaping at Channing School. We printed attaboy door hangers to compliment homeowners on nice work. We gave out buckets of rehab items to new homeowners as welcome wagon gift. We have sponsored neighborhood garage sales. We man a water station every year for the Foxtrot. We had several 4th of July festivities in the park where kids played games and participated in a parade on their decorated bikes. To improve our neighborhood over the next 40 years, we need you. We old-timers have done a lot to improve our neighborhood. We need you newcomers to take charge for the next 45 years. The sky is the limit at what you can accomplish. It is so very, very satisfying. Please join us